Well, Grenada, a very good Sunday morning to you on this, the 5th day of January 2020. Still trying to get used to saying 2020 and not 2019. I'm George Grant. Good morning. Thank you very much for joining us for this weekend's edition of Sundays with George Grant. First up, Ernesto. Hey. I certainly hope that you had a pretty good week and that you're going to have a good Sunday as well. Imagine that some of you are already putting the finishing touches to the meal that you're going to carry to the beach with you this morning. Bathway, Liverard, Grand Anse, wherever. Yeah. Just be safe. At this time of the year, you know, the waters get kind of choppy. Even down at Grand Anse, would you believe it? Sometimes it's one of the reasons we have not gone to the beach in well over a month now. One, the water is not nearly as warm as it used to be when we were going in August, September. And it's also a little bit choppy. Now, down at Grand Anse, it's hard to call the water at Grand Anse rough. Occasionally it does get rough where you get these big rollers coming in. But it hasn't been that way. It's just that it's not the nice, glossy, glassy kind of swimming pool beach that it's known for. And the rollers come in, and when you try to walk off the sand and get into the beach, you have to go over humps and humps and humps. Yeah, it's kind of a little bit uncomfortable. Well, so far, like I said, Ernesto is up first this morning. And let's see here. Grenada Sunshine's also saying good morning to you guys. Hello, Grenada Sunshine. Kipling Francis sending his blessings. And hello there, Margaret. She's back in the Big Apple right now and wishing everybody a Happy New Year. And one half of the Vespre family is there so far. Is the lady still preparing breakfast? See, Bradley is there. Haven't seen the lady yet. She'll probably show up very shortly. Pilgrims, interesting program this morning, interesting program. And I'm glad that you're here. We have a couple of absentees this morning. So let's start by taking a look at the rundown. There you go. The first thing we're going to be talking about, or first thing you're going to be watching, is a replay of a segment of this past Thursday's edition of Make We Chat. As always, we discussed a lot of things, but there are two pieces I'm going to run this morning. One that really stood out was a discussion on Trinidad and Tobago's currency transition. Yeah, man. The guy with boxes of money, yeah? Find out what that's all about. Guy goes into a bank. Okay, I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag. You'll have to wait. And in that discussion, you'll see the usual suspects. Well, who are the usual suspects? And I'm only saying this because I know that there's some of you this morning who may never have joined us for an edition of Make We Chat. Thursdays, 8 o'clock, Thursday evening, 2 hours, 8 to 10. The usual suspects this past week were Beverley Sinclair, who is a journalist, and she's also the producer of the program. Margaret Francis, who is also a journalist, but now I think working in the healthcare system in the United States. Mr. Jerry George, well-known regional broadcaster, journalist. Atherton Martin from Dominica, it's a politician. Richardson Franklin, who's a Telecom's consultant. Yeah, it's one of the suspects. And although we hadn't seen this lady for several months, she's a journalist. She's from Jamaica. Her name's Janet Silvera. It was so good to see her this week. And of course, yours truly, George Grant. Now, during that discussion, they segued from the TT currency transition to a bit about Mia Mottley. We'll give you the details about that in just a wee bit. And so you'll hear their discussion about Mia Mottley's recent appointment as the new head of Caricom. I thought, since these folks are discussing Mia Mottley, they were actually talking about her inaugural address, if you will, as the head of Caricom. I thought, why don't we show you what they were so pumped up about? I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag again, but I'm going to tell you that this lady obviously has a lot of supporters and a lot of detractors. You either love her or dislike her. So you're going to hear Mia's inaugural address to Caricom. Then, the second clip we're going to play from Make We Chat has to do with the World Bank's ratings on doing business. Annually, they put out a report saying, how this country, what it's like to do business in this country and that country and what have you. And Grenada continues to struggle. Well, the usual suspects decided to take that on Thursday. And you're going to find out one of the reasons they're speculating that we're having such a tough time. And then, New Year's. Did I say Happy New Year's to you this morning? Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you this morning. Not New Year's. Happy New Year to you this morning. We had a quiet evening on New Year's Eve, but it was fun. And for those of you who missed the fireworks, you're going to see that this morning. Had a little reception here, and then at midnight, everybody just moved out onto the balcony and started, look at the fireworks, my goodness. Yeah. So we're going to show you some of the fireworks. And then, I like to make sure that in all our programming, most of it, we include something that will bring a smile to your face. And I came across a piece last night, which is captioned, "Just for Laughs." Yeah? And you're going to have a couple of laughs this morning. Some Canadian humor. Yeah, some Canadian humor this morning. We'll have a couple of chuckles. And the package was put together by a group from Quebec called Oddly Satisfying Therapy. And that it surely was, therapy. With all the crazy stuff going on in the world today, it's nice to be able to hear something that will make you go, ha, 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 ha. Yeah, this morning's going to be one of those mornings. All right? So, let me scroll back here now, see some of the folks who were there this morning. Charmaine DeLille, good morning. Charmaine Anthea, good morning. Anthea's in Decatur, Georgia. I'm not sure if it's Yoli Sill or Yoli Sill, Yollie SYL. Saying Happy New Year to Georgian class. Well, Happy New Year to you too. And then there's John Best. Hey, John, have I seen you before? Maybe. Scatterbrain here. Short memories. Welcome, John. Oswin Lewis is saying good morning. And here comes the other half of the Vespre family. Carlene is saying good morning. And our good friend, hello there, Sharon. We've hardly spoken. We've only spoken once over the holiday season. Hey, Sharon? Wuggle. I miss you, girl. Sharon, I hope you're going to be with us on Wednesday morning of this. Yeah, it's on Wednesday. Sharon comes in, sits in one of these chairs here, and we have such a hoot. So for those of you who've been missing Good Day Grenada, check out Sharon. And another good friend here this morning, LMA Jackson. Not sure where LMA is, but LMA, it is so good to see you. LMA used to live here in Grenada, but now she's back in the United States, as far as I know. Arthur Langine is saying, aha, Mr. Langine. Arthur Langine is saying, good morning, Brother George and friends. I'm back in Florida from my cruise. Well, I certainly hope you had a blast to begin the new year, Arthur. Certainly hope you had a great time. Clive Baker is saying, good morning, Uncle George. Welcome to 2020. I hope this will be a better year for you. And belated Happy New Year to you. Thank you very much, Clive. Clive, I don't know anybody who's more optimistic about this year than I am. I am really, and sometimes we say that every year, but deep down inside you go, well, this may not happen, or this may go, no. It's all gonna happen. And whatever happens, as far as I'm concerned, happens for good, because I do believe that God's will be done. Okay? So, Davini Leo is saying, good morning, class, and happy, healthy 2020. May this year bring up lots of laughter. Yaman. We're going to try and make sure we have a lot of laughter for you. He says, I also want to comment on an article from the Ministry of Education to start the school year in prayer. Well done. Davini, I agree. I see it as a great move. But believe it or not, sir, there's a lot of cynicism and skepticism out there. A lot. If you've been on Facebook over the past week, you'll see what I mean. I don't know. Ernesto says, Friday I didn't take part in the morning program, but listened because I wanted Penny to be first, and she did. Yeah, Penny got in first. We all gave her a big hand. Let's see here. Yvonne Joseph is saying good morning and a happy new year to you guys, and sending her blessings. Can never get too many of those, Yvonne. We need them. Utris Williams is saying, have a great day, folks. Well, I'm not going to go to the beach today, Utris. But whatever I do, which may include a little snooze, it's going to be a great day. Stephen McDonald saying good morning, listening out of St. Martin. We'll be back in Caricom next week. Okay, Caricom, look out. Stephen's coming back. T.F. Richards saying good morning, Gigi, saying hello from a hot and sunny Texas. Yeah. The man's all over the place. T.F., see if you can get them to build a highway between Miami and Grenada, and then drive on down, pop up one day, show us, give us a little surprise, and come sit here with us. And by the way, it was nice seeing you electronically last week. Martin Carmichael Simon saying good morning. So yeah, those are all the folks who are there so far this morning. Now. My dear friends, today you have one editorial. I have been trying to find out what's going on with the Grenada Advocate, but we haven't seen them now for a couple of weeks. And they did notify me that until further notice, we won't be seeing their editorials. I'm not sure that their paper is even on the street. Like I said, I don't know what's going on. Don't want to jump to any speculation, but it would be sad. I certainly would miss them. We do have, as always, though, the editorial from the New Today. And they, by the way, are captioned, "Things Not Right." Didn't hear me? Things not right. Hang on, you'll find out in just a wee bit what that one's all about. The other absentee this morning, little angel, little angel, little angel. Little angel is not going to be joining us this morning. I do hope that you had a wonderful new year, little angel, and we look forward to seeing you probably next week. You've been at it, I know, you've been at it. But you've been trying, and we're so happy about your contributions. Thank you so much. Anthony de Riggs is saying, good morning. I want to throw out a question to your listeners. Is it wise to waste all that money on cable TV? What made you ask that, Anthony? I'm kind of curious. Is it wise to waste all that money on cable TV? Okay. Folks, you can put your answers there for Anthony. John Nosinak says, having breakfast out, so we'll listen later. Oh ho. Somebody's taking John to brekkie this morning. Have a good one, bacon and eggs, or maybe some saltfish and bakes and cocoa tea. It would be nice if you shared some of that with us. Benjamin Rouget is saying he's listening. Welcome, Benjamin. Jackie O saying good morning. And Ernesto saying, please drivers, take it easy on the nation's roads. I saw some pics of an accident yesterday and it wasn't looking pretty at all. Yeah, they've been a number of accidents over the holidays. I don't know. You know, accidents will happen. They will happen. But when you see the ridiculous accidents that are taking place, and a lot of it has to do with just the mindset of these people. So much of it could be avoided. Like, you're told there's a speed limit. Obey the speed limit. You're told that under certain circumstances, you're supposed to give right away. Give right away. Hey, what's the big deal? There's some people who just think they're the only people on the road. And they pay the consequences. Jackie O says, all this talk about food is making me hungry. Jackie. Yeah. I know the feeling. Kathleen Thomas is saying good morning. And Nutris obviously knows Michael, whoever Michael is. And Nutris is saying, good morning, Michael. As George scrolls up the road. Oh, a lot of you people out there this morning. Okay, so that's opening salvo on this Sunday morning. Right now, let's take our first little break, and then we'll come back with this week's edition of The Buzz.
I'm always on the move. Training, traveling, competing.
A commemorative postage stamp.
So it's good to know I have Coop Bank in the palm of my hand.
Introducing e-banking, one of many customer convenience services from Grenada Cooperative Bank, and there's more to come.
It's swift, simple, and secure.
Welcome home.
Together with you, our customers, we energize our community.
Together with you, we energize our economy.
We are working together to give our nation a better tomorrow.
With you, we energize our future. Together, we energize our nation.
Thank you for partnering with us
as we energize our Spice Island.
Renlec, energizing our Grenada.
Juve chocolates, cocoa nibs, and cocoa balls from Diamond Estate Grenada are now available at Amazon.com, Amazon.ca, Amazon.co.uk, and GrenadaMarket.com. Try the sensational touch of nutmeg and a touch of ginger chocolates, 75% dark and rich, 100% pure cocoa, and their 60% dark and sweet chocolate bars today. Amazon Prime members enjoy free shipping on these orders in the USA, Canada, and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
Okay, so we are back this morning, and Jackie O, not sure who she's responding to, probably something I didn't see on Facebook. She says, absolutely not. I like to spend my money on good food, not to watch the food on cable TV. Ah, I get it. Margaret Fanza says, what? Without me? Enjoy. Okay. Mags, I'm a little bit slow this morning, obviously, but I didn't get that one either. Okay. Fellow friends, let us move right into this week's edition of The Buzz. And we begin with a reading from the Holy Scriptures. Now, about the gifts of the Spirit, brothers and sisters, I do not want you to be uninformed. You know that when you were pagans, somehow or other, you were influenced and led astray to mute idols. Therefore, I want you to know that no one who is speaking by the Spirit of God says, Jesus be cursed. And no one can say, Jesus is Lord, except by the Holy Spirit. There are different kinds of gifts, but the same Spirit distributes them. There are different kinds of service, but the same Lord. There are different kinds of working, but in all of them, and in every one, it is the same God at work. Now to each one, the manifestation of the Spirit is given for the common good. To one, there is given, through the Spirit, a message of wisdom. To another, a message of knowledge by means of the same Spirit. To another, faith by that one Spirit. To another, gifts of healing by that same Spirit. To another, miraculous powers. To another, prophecy. To another, distinguishing between spirits. To another, speaking in different kinds of tongues. And to still another, the interpretation of tongues. All these are the work of one and the same Spirit, and He distributes them to each one, just as He determines. That reading from the first book of Corinthians, chapter 12, verses 1 to 11. All right. As I mentioned to you this morning, little Angel is not going to be with us today. Little Angel, good morning. Before we take our next little break here, let me go back to some of the comments here this morning. Ernesto says, I'm having fried breadfruit from home with saltfish. You're driving Jackie O crazy, Ernesto. He says, I'm having fried breadfruit from home with saltfish stew. Saltfish stew or saltfish sauce? Huh? Okay. And the famous Grenada cocoa tea. Yeah. I need to get some more cocoa. Miss that stuff. Joan Wellington saying, happy Sunday morning to everyone. Have a nice day. Anthony the Rake says, one cable company is sneaking up new rates from February 1st. Who that? Who that, Anthony? Wow. And Margaret says, Anthony, if it's for what is offered on cable in Grenada, then I'd say it is a colossal waste of money. Grenadians are being terribly shortchanged. I dare say, robbed. Margaret, I know that you don't live here, so thank God you're not really subjected to the caliber of cable service we receive in this country. But girl, you're right on the money. Right on the money. I don't pay for cable. I really don't. And I'll tell you, the people here are being literally raped. You say robbed, I say raped. It's sad. But for a lot of people, that's their escape. You know? That is their escape. So. Nutris Williams. Nutris Williams says, where is this happening, Chris? Who's Chris? Huh? I'm not sure. Then she corrects herself and says, sorry, Anthony. Nutris, I would assume, I could be wrong, but I'm assuming that he would be referring to Grenada. If I'm wrong, correct me, Anthony, but Anthony then says, the conferences that Trump and others have and are carried on cable TV, I see on my smartphone. The old movies I love, I see on my tablet. So he's giving reasons why cable is not that important to him. And yeah, you know, just about everybody in town has a smartphone nowadays, so why pay the amount that you're paying for cable? One, sometimes the channels aren't there. Two, they break up, they freeze. Three, sometimes you get video and no audio, and on, and on, and on. And one has to ask, where is our regulatory commission? What are they there for? Are they there? They're supposed to be regulating the industry. And just wait and be late on your payments for your cable subscription. Zap! You're gone. The longest rope has an end. Jackie O says, Ernesto Jose, a vex and a jealous and my mouth making water all at the same time. Yeah, I knew Jackie would be ticked off at hearing him talk about food. And Nutris says, Lord, put a hand. All right, folks, we've gone through the first half hour of this morning's edition. So let's get back here, take a little break, and then we'll come back with the editorial from the New Today.
Can I have a chicken lunch, please? Large.
Real nice today.
I don't want that.
But you just asked for a chicken lunch.
I don't have problem with the lunch. Afraid the container.
What is the problem with it?
These styrofoam containers, they don't good for the environment. They shorten with life.
What foolishness you telling me? So what you want me to use?
Put my food in this.
Where you get that?
At the food fair, where you could get all biodegradable food boxes and disposable food supplies like cups, plates, anything you could think about. Name it, it's there. And they don't harm the environment. Food fair, taking the lead in cleaning up and protecting the environment. Hey, like you take me advice, you get in your biodegradable food supplies.
Well, girl, I supporting who's supporting the environment. That is why I shop in at food fair.
Food fair, where you can fill your baskets without emptying your pockets. Products distributed by Hubbard's agency, Kirani James Boulevard.
Juve chocolates, cocoa nibs, and cocoa balls from Diamond Estate Grenada are now available at Amazon.com, Amazon.ca, Amazon.co.uk, and GrenadaMarket.com. Try their sensational touch of nutmeg and a touch of ginger chocolates, 75% dark and rich, 100% pure cocoa, and their 60% dark and sweet chocolate bars today. Amazon Prime members enjoy free shipping on these orders in the USA, Canada, and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
Alrighty, folks. As far as I can recall, Jackie O is in Washington, and she's saying something here to Peter Bishop. She says, "Top of the morning to you, Peter," and she says, "Brace yourself with all this wind. I hope no eyelashes or wigs fly off and hit you." Yeah. You people in Washington wear a lot of those. Yeah. Erica Mitchell saying good morning. Happy New Year to everyone. Best of wishes always. Let us challenge ourselves to make 2020 a very productive year. Erica, way to go, girl. Penny Crawley says, hello, Penny. Yeah, Penny. Ernesto says he was being nice to you this past week. Penny says she's sorry to be late. She was making a special breakfast for my grandson. Well, Fox. Fox is her grandson. I thought you were the one who usually prepared breakfast, you know, waffles and pancakes and that kind of stuff. Well, nice to relax this morning, Penny. Okay. Folks, let's get into our only editorial on this, the 5th day of January. The New Today's editorial, which was published on Friday, is captioned, "Things Not Right." The two things just do not add up. The New Today is referring to the award given to Prime Minister Dr. Keith Mitchell as Finance Minister of the Year in 2018 for the Caribbean by some organization, and the fact that under his watch as Minister of Finance in the same year, over $50 million cannot be accounted for, arising from the sale of Grenadian passports. Secondly, months after presenting the 2019 budget, the same Dr. Mitchell, as Minister of Finance, was forced to go back to Parliament to pass a mini budget, since the previous one was inadequate and had virtually collapsed during the fiscal year. It is now doubtful that those behind the award would have given it to the Prime Minister if they had knowledge about the missing shrimp farm money that came from the sale of our passports. It is a clear and straight case of a Minister of Finance found badly wanting in terms of putting proper measures in place to protect the nation's purse. This is not 5 EC dollars, but $52.3 million that should have been used for the purpose it was intended for. A project for St. Mark's and jobs for over 400 of the local residents. This newspaper only managed to see the exact figure based on a document that was penned by one Kaisha Ince, head of the Grenada Citizenship by Investment Committee, to Soren Daoudi, the developer of the shrimp farm project. The new today is doubtful that the Prime Minister can convince anyone that he's not aware of the huge sum of money that ended up in the hands of some people due to the sale of Grenadian passports to bring into fruition the shrimp farm project in St. Mark. And most importantly, why is the current regime so silent on the promised investigation into the missing money? There has been no information forthcoming on who are the persons entrusted by government with the authority to investigate what really happened with the shrimp farm money. No member of the public is aware that an investigation has indeed been carried out or is about to start, and the mandate given to the investigators. Why this total silence from the botanical gardens on the people's money? This newspaper would not like to accuse the government of being complicit with certain elements in the missing money issue. One of the persons involved in the project had told, one of the persons involved in the project had told the undercover reporters from the Al Jazeera network that 2 ministers had already asked for large sums from the project to influence their campaign for the 2018 general election. Is it a case of the powers that be not taking the risk of doing a proper and thorough investigation for fear that some of their own might be exposed for trying to dip their hands into the passport sale money? This is why the award given to Dr. Mitchell as the top finance minister for 2018 is very laughable for those who have really been following the Grenada situation over the years. Can anyone remember the sale of the Grenada Airways plane that was placed into the hands of Dr. Mitchell as Minister of Works in the 1984 to 1990 NNP-led government of the late Prime Minister Herbert Blaize? The plane was sold, and not 1 penny ended up in the Treasury. The only explanation given by Dr. Mitchell back then was that the driving force behind Grenada Airways, one Shihab, was a crook who should take the blame for the sale of the plane without the trace of the money. Today, 30+ years later, the same Dr. Mitchell, as Minister of Finance, is at the center of the missing shrimp farm money, which is in the region of $52.3 million. The New Today would also like to make some comments on the deplorable state of our road network. Dr. Mitchell has been running the affairs of the country for most of the past 30 years. And alongside him is Gregory Bowen, who has served as the Minister of Works for most of those years. The west coast of the island is in crisis due to the fast deteriorating roads. Many residents from that part of the island have been complaining about other danger areas almost similar to what has now unfolded in the Mottley area. It is time for some stock taking and for serious questions to be asked about the performance of the Ministry of Works under Mr. Bowen's leadership. Do we need a new line Minister of Works? Has the country gotten value for the millions spent on roads in the past 30 years under the current NNP and Minister of Works? Has the country been shortchanged in road construction by CCC, which, over the years, did most of our road construction? Did the government contribute to the problem by giving too many special licenses to the many huge trucks that are now seen all over the country as part of the construction industry? Is the manner in which our roads are now allowed to deteriorate part of the growing state of lawlessness in Grenada? That, Pilgrims, was the text of the editorial published on Friday by The New Today. Scroll back, Georgie Porgy. Erica Mitchell, we said good morning. Peter Bishop, Bernard Gilbert. Okay. All right, folks. Now, I think that's all the reading we have to do for this morning. Whew. Time now to settle down to watching videos. By the way, it's kind of iffy, but just in case, towards the end of the program, we have anything that you would like to talk with me about this morning, talk, not just on social media, talk. You should be able to reach me at 473, that's our area code, 415-0631. Let me repeat, 473, area code, most of you know that. And the number, 415-0631. Not now, and not while we're playing the videos, because I can't talk to you during the videos, okay? But once we get through with the videos, if you've made some notes about, hey, I really want to talk about this, or I really want to talk, I'd be happy to hear from you, okay? Deal? Anthea says, question, who holds the evidence of all this missing money? When will all the talk about it stop and action be taken? And who can bring this case to court? Anthea. Yeah, you're right, girl. You're right. Have a lot of lawyers in this place. Nobody willing to move. Kipling Francis says, does the award given to the PM state what it really is about? Best or worst? Many of us know the truth. Fitzroy Adams and Mary Campbell are saying good morning. And Maria St. Bernard is saying good morning. Hello there, Maria. Okay, folks, so, your mom. Break time? Yeah, break time. Then we'll come back with the usual suspects from MECWE Chat.
I'm always on the move. Training, traveling, competing.
A commemorative postage stamp.
So it's good to know I have Co-op Bank in the palm of my hand.
Introducing e-banking, one of many customer convenience services from Grenada Cooperative Bank, and there's more to come.
It's swift, simple, and secure.
Welcome home.
Together with you, our customers, we energize our community.
Together with you, we energize our economy.
We are working together to give our nation a better tomorrow.
With you, we energize our future. Together, we energize our nation.
Thank you for partnering with us
as we energize our Speyside.
Renlec, energizing our Grenada.
Juve chocolates, cocoa nibs, and cocoa balls from Diamond Estate Grenada are now available at Amazon.com, Amazon.ca, Amazon.co.uk, and GrenadaMarket.com. Try their sensational touch of nutmeg and a touch of ginger chocolates, 75% dark and rich, 100% pure cocoa, and their 60% dark and sweet chocolate bars today. Amazon Prime members enjoy free shipping on these orders in the USA, Canada, and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
Well, Pilgrims, we have now been joined by Winifred Williams, who's saying good morning from Washington, D.C. Winifred, if you see Jackie O, say hello for us. Roger Mitchell says, as someone who grew up in the Telescope Main Road, I could clearly say we haven't gotten value for our money, seeing what happened to gravel and concrete. Okay. And Maria St. Bernard saying good morning, folks. All right, my dear friends, let's get down to business here now this morning. We're going to begin with MECWE Chat. In one of the discussions on Thursday's edition of MECWE Chat, we centered on Trinidad's move to the polymer note and a pastor who showed up at a banking institution with millions of dollars in tithes. Tithes. That's the first part of the story. The next story you're going to see, okay? But then, the conversation turned to the pros and cons surrounding the recent appointment of Barbadian Prime Minister Mia Mottley as chairman of the Caribbean Community. One of the panelists we had on the program on Thursday night, a lady by the name of Janet Silvera, she's a Jamaican journalist. She expressed a lot of optimism that Mia Mottley will make a difference to Caricom. But that triggered a reaction which, it appears, was just waiting to be vented. Check this excerpt.
Well, we also wanted to look at tonight the transitioning of Trinidad with the money and the things that have been coming out with this changeover. And I think some very interesting things have been happening in Trinidad with this taking out of circulation of the old notes and putting in the new notes.
I'm smiling. First of all, let's go to the serious side of this. Trinidad and Tobago, for some reason, recognized that they had an issue that surrounded $100 bills. And so they used what is called a demonion of the market to try to curb what they sensed, the government sense was a real case of money laundering and things of that nature. So what they did is that they created this new polymer-based note, which most of the countries are doing anyway, and asked for the residents to surrender all of their old $100 bill notes, which is built around cotton, a cotton-based thing. The time frame they set for this to happen was really aggressive and, as far as I'm concerned, unimaginable. Anyhow, it was the 31st of December. As the 31st of December approached, this particular church pastor appeared with $29 million worth of $100 bills, and he goes to Scotiabank, I think it is. Scotiabank tell him, please, head for the central bank. The central bank have not arrested him, but they have kept the money, expecting him to come through the course of this week to explain the source of funds. He says that he has been keeping tithes and offerings for the last 19 years. Go figure.
He's been keeping tithes and offering for 19 years?
I always thought that the purpose of tithes and offering was very clear in the Bible. Very, very clear. Mm-hmm. And if you could keep tithes and offerings for 19 years, then something is grossly wrong. Let's start there.
No, but before
he had another source of income.
He had another source.
for the church, that is.
Well, obviously, clearly, he had another source of income.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah, but before we even go there, I remember when the Trinidad government announced that they were going to be changing over the notes, taking the paper notes out of circulation and putting in the polymer notes. One of the reasons, or possibly even the major reason they gave, was to deal with financial crime, money laundering. And at the time, I didn't understand what they were doing. But as they started to roll out the operation, I got a picture of what they were doing. Because obviously they realized that a lot of people had a lot of money that they could not take to the bank. We also had a barber in Trinidad who turned up with more than $1 million. And the man said, well, he's a barber. You know, that is how he collected the $1 million. So he took it to the bank to be exchanged. And
I don't find that really extraordinary, honestly. I mean, I'm thinking of cases here where people used to use their mattress under their mattress. And the stories that came out, I mean, these were genuine people not involved in any kind of,
No, over a long period of time it could happen, definitely. Yeah, my thing is that to $100 bills in particular.
Right. But $100 bills, I don't know how many of you save money in your house. But the $100 notes is not typically the note that you save in your house.
No.
You save the coins, you save the smaller notes, and at some point when whatever container you have them in full, you go and you change it out. And you spend the larger notes. But in Trinidad, people seem to do it the other way around. They save the $100 notes and spend the other notes.
No, let me tell you something about Trinidad and their currency use, which is indeed strange. Trinidad is one of the only countries that still has a dollar bill, basically. And that dollar bill, I always say, is what runs the Trinidad economy. It's the dollar bill that the taxi man has a wad of for change, the vendors, it really runs the Trinidad economy. Outside of that, the next bill is the $100 bill in truth.
That's true.
The next bill is the $100 bill. All the other bills in between, they kind of just come as an aside. But the $1 bill and the $100 bill are the two denominations that run Trinidad and Tobago.
We're talking about some situations that have come up in Trinidad as the government is taking out the paper $100 notes and replacing it with what is called the polymer notes. The kind of note that's made out of some kind of plastic. And they have given a deadline when the paper notes will no longer be legal tender. So people are rushing to get rid of their paper notes, and some very interesting things are surfacing there in Trinidad.
But they're going into plastic?
Yeah, the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank has done that already. So here in the Eastern Caribbean islands, we have a lot of plastic notes now.
What is the current value of the Trinidad dollar? against like say the US?
Against the US is about 8.
8?
Yeah.
Okay.
The EC dollars you're getting 250, 270, somewhere 250, almost the price for the US dollars that we would get for one US.
Okay.
Yeah.
EC to Trinidad used to be like
2 for 1.
2 to 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it went to 6. It went to 6 US about a year or two ago. But now it's really ramping up. $8 is what you're talking about now.
Yeah. Last time I actually spent a few days in Trinidad, it was 6 to 1. So that was probably some time ago. Yeah. So that's what's happening. So right. So I think we were talking about the barber and his $1 million.
Yeah, I mean, but them kind of things were not unusual. I mean, what became unusual in recent times is when one guy who owns a gasoline station walked into a bank and came to deposit 1.5 million EC dollars. That was unusual, and because given all the regulations governing those amounts of money, he was asked where's that money come from, and he openly said it's from the sale of passports. He happened to be the head of the passport selling unit in the country. And when the bank said, I'm sorry, we don't accept that kind of money here, he promptly just walked 2 blocks around the corner and went to the National Bank.
And they accept that kind of money.
No problem depositing that with the kind of explanation, and they undertook to ensure that the international agencies that ask those kinds of questions will be responded to appropriately. So, I mean, we those kind of things bother me and should bother us. I mean, because the numbers we're talking about here, that's why I asked a question about the value, the international trading value of a currency, a TT dollar versus, let's say, an EC dollar. Because when we're talking here now, in our tiny little country, no oil, hardly any tourism, hardly any export industries, and we have people walking into banks depositing millions of dollars, and we have ministers of finance failing to report on billions. That's a problem, and it seems to me I'm only concerned about what's going on in Trinidad insofar as somebody can explain what are the implications of that for the so-called Caribbean economy. Is there a Caribbean economy? Will there ever be? Can there ever be? Or more importantly, should there be a single Caribbean economy? With how many currencies we have? A Jamaican currency, an EC currency, a Bajan
Barbados,
currency, a Trinidad currency, a Guyanese currency. And we're still talking about common market, common single.
Cannot happen.
So it really, that is what bothers me, is that we're not taking advantage of an opportunity for transitioning from, let's say, one format of a currency to another, to say to each other, hey guys, let's all agree on a common $50 bill or a common $100 bill, or I don't even know what the fiscal or the financial implications are, but certainly I'm not seeing any moves, even when it's on something as simple or straightforward as changing a note. I'm not seeing any moves in the direction of saying, well, we're still committed to what Uncle Eric Williams used to talk about.
You know something? I believe there is hope with Mia Mottley being the Caricom chairman right now.
Really?
Yes, she just became Caricom chairman a day or 2 ago.
Well, I'm sorry, but
for 6 months.
Mia just did something in Dominica that I cannot agree with you. So anyhow, carry on.
All right. When I finish talking about, maybe you can tell us what she did in Dominica, because I've been out of the loop for a little, but I was listening to her New Year's Day speech, and I've always listened to Mia, and I usually believe in what she says, because for me, she's a solid woman, and I believe that she's gonna make a difference as it relates to Caricom. I see where she's also trying to get Africa involved. She wants to do a conference where she's inviting the motherland to come and meet in the Caribbean. I think all of us should try to go to that conference to see what comes out of it. I'm already planning and seeing, I don't know exactly where it's going to be held, it's probably Barbados, I don't know, maybe Guyana. But I would love to see what comes out of that. But I don't know if you got an opportunity to listen to that speech that she made. In a long time, I have not felt as empowered. Listening to Mia in that speech, I felt like I was listening to a Michael Manley.
Yeah.
Yeah. The problem
But you know, politicians will speak all the time, and I know this to impress us. So, you know, I'm waiting to see if she is as good as her speech or if she will walk the talk.
You know, Jerry, he lives in an island which is singularly marked by somebody as Prime Minister who has made the best speeches ever, even rivaling Michael Manley. Ralph Gonsalves has speeches. He's written the best, you know, treaties. But we have to take account of the space between the talk and the walk. And I guess for me, you know, the situation with Mia is very, very current. 30% of the Dominican economy just got up and walked into Barbados. And the person here who facilitated that with her, and she was in great need for that, also facilitated several of her operatives, but critical, political, strategic operatives, working our national elections here in a way that was scandalously corrupt and fraudulent.
That's very sad.
In addition to that, 3 days before our general election, Mia, Ralph, Gaston approved the sending of the regional security service in hundreds of troops to Dominica 3 days before an election, allegedly to protect the state. What state? But and that group of soldiers at 3 o'clock in the morning attacked a sleeping village on the west coast of the island with tear gas on elderlies, mothers, children, etc. I'm afraid that her words ring very hollow at this moment.
Oh my God. I'm so happy that I brought this up.
No, we need to discuss these things.
Yeah,
I'm very happy.
Because Mia did bring and has brought a lot of hope and a sense of freshness to the Caribbean politics. But she, I am saying that she is quickly being sucked into the cabal. You know?
That is so sad.
Because Mia has a couple of people on her payroll who shouldn't be there.
But who's saying that she's going into the cabal? Who said she's not part of the cabal already?
Exactly.
You know, because I caution you guys against something. You really don't know these people, and I think you cannot just sit back from afar, listen to a speech, and say Mia Mottley did this for me or did that.
No.
No, hold on. I'm just quoting what was said. But what it is. One has to look at these people's track record. And I have dealt personally with a woman, and I am totally opposed to what you said. Based on what has happened in Dominica, it just further strengthens my opinion about Mia Mottley. So, all I would do is to caution people. It's just, you know, let history let's see where things go. Let's watch the rollout.
Listen, it's not that I'm listening to a speech and saying that, okay, this person is going to make changes. I am saying that I listen to Mia, and regionalism is what I got from it. I was encouraged by her speech because this is something that I've wanted to see happen for so long. And if she's going to become the Caricom chairman for the next 6 months, and if she's able to do what she says she's going to be able to do, more power to her, more power for the region. You understand where I'm coming from? But if you have far more experience with Nia, more power to you too. I'm just saying what I thought when I listened to the speech. I was encouraged by. But now you're telling me something else, and I understand.
No, fair enough. All I'm saying is one must be cautious as far as who we're celebrating off the bat. Give it time. Let it. You know, let's see where they're going. Right now, as far as this thing about regional unity and such, I don't think that will ever happen. That's the reality. You know, these countries are all grounded in their way of doing business, and you need to be around the table and then be away from the table as the back chat starts. There's what is for public consumption, and then there's what governments feel. And Athy has been there, so Athy could back me up on this. So let me know if I'm off base.
No,
but
you're on point. You're on point.
You know, so that's the reality. I think we mustn't fool ourselves. You know, because when you look at the Caricom itself and the Caribbean itself, we are missing on so many things. We're misfiring. You know, when these international companies come to deal with us, they're now calling it the colonial agreements they sign in just the 21st century.
Oh my
right?
God.
As we enter the last year of the second decade, right?
No, man, it's the first year of the third decade.
No, it isn't. It isn't. But anyhow, we'll argue that at another point in time. And you know, I was speaking to a friend there who pointed that out to me. And you know, after a year, we're not at year zero in our age. We start at 0 and we end up at 1. So that's the first year.
So it's 2021 when we start the decade.
Right, exactly. You start counting at 1, not at 0.
Yeah, no, not at 0. I know. I learned that the hard way.
So yeah, well, it was firmly pointed out to me, and I thought about it and did some research, and it is really 1. Even so, you just think about it logically.
So the year 2000 didn't count?
That's the 10th year.
Yeah, the
So
argument is that you start at 1.
Yeah.
No, the year 2000.
The year 2000 is the 10th year of the first
of that. So the year 2000 is when the 20th century ended.
Correct.
All right. As I said, that can be debated another time.
No, everybody's entitled to their own opinion.
At the risk, just to avoid any doubt as to where these observations are coming from and where they're going, this is not an observation about governments in power or parties in power.
Yeah.
This is an observation about the political culture of the Caribbean.
Yep.
Because I have had experiences, and I'm sure you have had too, of persons from the other parties when they've been in office and how they have behaved. It's pretty much according to the same pattern. So there's a deep-seated cultural dislocation of the Caribbean that has not seriously been attended to. And we think we're getting change when we change the face or the name. But we're not unless we really change in the culture.
That's right.
The way we do things. And you know, so I really just urge us, and that's why I think this program has been important so far and will continue to be, because it allows us to make these kinds of points that you will not hear made on ordinary radio. Because I say that because this is extraordinary radio. Okay, and so the issue is that I also feel that when people rise, you know, in authority and in stature and in position, it appears to me that they become less compassionate, less sensitive, less in tune with what is the effect of their behavior on the people in whose name they actually supposedly hold the office.
Exactly.
And just to complete the circle on that, following this fraudulent event that took place here on December 6th, which some people call a general election, Mia was also one of those who came here to celebrate with Ralph and Gaston. You understand what I'm saying? And where did they celebrate? They celebrated in a 5-star hotel in the north of the island, built from the sale of Dominican passports, in which the Dominican people have absolutely no stake, no equity, no ownership. And it is in the very town that has died because Mia took the Ross University and its 2,000 student body and brought it to Barbados with the collusion of the person who she just helped to get fraudulently re-elected and held the celebration in the town that she just helped kill. No economy. So there's a human thing. We see it on television, the Rohingyas and the Uyghurs and the whoever else being killed. And we think it's happening out there. It's happening right here in our region, where people are being emotionally and spiritually and sometimes physically wiped out by the very people that they are told, that we are told, are in office to look after
our interests.
So,
themselves.
No, they are elected by us to look after our interests.
I know.
But that doesn't happen. We elect them to look after their interests. And if you want to see a live and living example of that, just look at all the confusion with Brexit.
The confusion where?
Brexit.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Where those elected decided that those who elect them shouldn't get what they want. Yeah. Jerry, what's happening to you over there?
No, I'm listening to the discussion and actually taking the discussion. Nothing happening to me here. I'm listening to the discussion. But I'll say this. I'll say that compared to a lot of the other leaders so far, Nia does sound like a breath of fresh air. I guess we have to hear her out. They come in at the beginning of each 6 months term as chairman and claim that they want to do so many things. They just don't have the time to do it in 6 months. They don't. They're too intercessional in that 6 month period.
Yep.
One of the biggest problems that Caricom has is implementation. And therefore, to get things to move in 6 months and implement it is almost a non-starter. It's not pretty.
Yeah, but at the end, Richardson said it in different ways, and I am saying it in a different way. That 6 month chairmanship is possibly designed to ensure that nothing gets done, because regional unity is not something that is supposed to happen.
No, but Bev, as to what you're saying about nothing gets done, ask yourself, what does Caricom actually do?
But that's the point.
For example, when cable and wireless sold to Flow and that type of thing, those sort of movements and the way it was done was supposed to have been sent to a committee within Caricom.
Mm-hmm.
And when they received it, they didn't even know what it was all about because no one knew what had happened, that there was even a merger. So, you know, when you speak about Caricom, I mean, I know some of these Caricom folks.
Mm-hmm.
And I can tell you, I mean, these guys are like, they're basically there to, you know, like on vacation, basically.
Yeah, to enjoy the lifestyle.
A reward for the work they did as a senior public servant somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, but that is what Caricom is, and that's how it's seen.
So why don't we get it disbanded? No,
I mean,
honestly, Caricom is a big joke.
No. We all agree to that, you know, but who is going to make the move in that direction?
It's not a joke. It's a deadly thing. Let me give you one example. In August of last year, Caricom joined the Commonwealth Secretariat and the OAS in a joint mission to guide Dominica towards electoral reform.
Mm-hmm.
Two of the recommendations made by that joint mission were that the list needs to be cleansed of dead people and other things, and voter ID cards need to be made available to qualified voters in Dominica.
Mm-hmm.
That's August. There was an election. It called for December 6th. Caricom was loud and conspicuous in its silence about the fact that here it is, in August, they joined two other agencies to recommend that two things be done before the next election. Here the next election was, the date was set, and there nothing was done about those two items. Then Caricom comes back as an observer on that same election on December 6th, for which no preparations were made to address their recommendations. And Caricom ends up saying, alongside the other agencies, that this election reflected the will of the people. So that they're not a joke. They are deadly. They're deadly to democracy. They're deadly to economy. They're deadly to the society, to the culture. And as Richie said, any notion that we might have had about coming together as a region, the mechanism, the internal mechanism of it has a built-in device to prevent those things from happening.
Yep.
Oh my God. You know, you've just shattered all my hopes.
No.
I'm just telling you, I must be honest.
Keep your hope, because you cannot posit your hope on the behavior and actions of people who have constantly for over 4 decades
So let me ask you a
showed
question.
us that they're not interested.
Let me ask you a question. What am I to do if they are the leaders of the region?
No, they are not the leaders. The leaders are in your community, in your country. If you're in Port Antonio, there are people there who are leaders. If you're in Money Mosque, there are people there who are leaders. If you're in Frome, there are people there who are leaders, and so on. There is no, if Dwyer were here, that is what he would say. And that is what I am saying. Is that
Where is Dwyer, by the way?
He did send a note that he won't be able to join us tonight.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think you're right, though. At some point in time, folks have to realize that everything is community-based, has to be community-based.
It has to be.
Well, I don't know when we're going to get to that stage there now.
No, but you get to the stage, No, hold a second, Jerry. It gets to that stage when you as an individual decide to do something. You cannot sit back and wait. I mean, you could have your own little party group in your community. or your, you know, it doesn't even have to be a party group, you know.
Just a group?
Just a group of folks who sit and discuss things and put things in perspective.
Okay, okie dokie, yeah. Want to remind you folks that that was an excerpt, and you'll have another one in just a few minutes, from Thursday's edition of MECWE Chat. Tessa has pointed out to us here that she was hearing an echo. I didn't hear an echo, Tessa, but I did notice, and I apologize for this, when we did the program on Thursday night, we did have some internet problems, and the quality of the audio was not what it was really supposed to be. Okay, so terribly sorry about that. Now, somebody here named Derek, I'm not sure how you pronounce this last one. Derek is less, or Derek Isles, I'm not sure which one, but he says here, we need to find Egbert Germain. Think he's missing here. And he also said a little bit earlier on that he's listening from Manchester in England. Well, nice to have you, Derek. Thanks for joining us. And he also described the discussion there as a brilliantly interesting conversation. We thought so. That's why I decided to play that this morning. Yeah, Derek has now clarified for us. It's Isles, I-S-L-E-S, Derek Isles. Well, hello, Derek Isles. Nice to see you. Don't remember seeing you before. Okay. Ernesto Jose says, I think she's a breath of fresh air to the Caribbean. He's referring to Mia Mottley. With some of the stands she's taken for education, for example, and I think we need to give her a chance to sow her seeds. Also, as a woman who's trying to make a difference in Caribbean politics and leaderships. Okay, Ernesto, point well taken. Let me scroll back here. We've now been joined by Anthony Howard as well. And Tessa also clarified here when they were discussing the transition to the polymer note in Trinidad. Tessa says that the EC dollar to the TT dollar now ranges from 230 to 250. Okay. Bob Marishow is saying good morning to you guys. And Arthur Langine is glad to be back. Okay, so let me see here. Okay, now, we are now going to turn to that address that was delivered by Mia Mottley. Here's her New Year's address to Caricom, which triggered much of the discussion that you heard there a few minutes ago.
Raise your voices high and sing of your Caribbean pride. Sing it loud and strong. Feel our hearts beat as one.
People of the Caribbean community, hello. It is with a sense of immense pleasure, pride, and humility that I greet you at the start of this new year as the new chairman of Caricom. Across our region, 2019 has brought more than its fair share of challenges, and indeed many of them, including the very daunting prospects of the climate crisis, are certain to follow us into this new year. But as we enter 2020 with no thought of defeat, we do so conscious that long before terms such as resilience and sustainable development were fashionable, we saw ourselves and we knew that we are a resilient people who for centuries have battled adversity of every kind, and we've always prevailed. Our very history has been one of struggle, but one of success. It is against this backdrop that we can take a fresh look at the path we would wish to set for ourselves and our children, using a term that is no doubt familiar to us all. It is my sincere wish that our approach to the advancement of our people in every country of the Caribbean community will be characterized by a level of clarity that is usually associated with 2020 vision. For generations, the actions and the experiences of ordinary men and ordinary women of the Caribbean have left no doubt that they have always known what they have wanted for the inhabitants of these islands. And we are no different today. In fact, Many of us have demonstrated what true integration really means, in spite of the obstacles of bureaucracy that we sometimes confront in our leadership class as we go about our ordinary business. But at the same time, we recognize that the regional integration movement, my friends, is very much a relay race. Sometimes we're hard on ourselves, expecting to achieve overnight that which requires patience and careful nurturing over generations. Our vision to better the lot of our people has remained constant from the very early days of the Montego Bay Conference in 1947 on closer association of the British West Indian colonies, to the West Indian Federation of 1958 to 1962, most ably led by the founder of my own political party, the Right Excellent Sir Grantley Adams. From the establishment of CARIFTA on December 15, 1965, 10 weeks after I was born, at Dickinson Bay in Antigua, to its transformation into the Caribbean Community, the institution we now know, the document signed on July 4th but coming into force on Emancipation Day, August 1st of 1973 at Chaguaramas in Trinidad, or to the 1989 Grandaunt's Declaration in Grenada that signaled our determination to remove the disadvantages of size and geography from our national development through our commitment to establish the single market and single economy. Our process has therefore been one that has moved from generation to generation of committed Caribbean people to the building of a regional integration movement that will allow us always to work to provide the best lives possible for our people. Lest we be influenced by those who will only see a half-empty glass rather than one that is half full, may I remind us all that the European integration movement started on the 16th of April 1948, so that as we enter the third decade of the 21st century, they too are still working to perfect that union despite having far more resources than we have ever had in the Caribbean. I pray, therefore, that 2020 will strengthen us to run our leg of this regional integration relay race with confidence. I pray that as leaders of the Caribbean community, we will work to give our people renewed confidence and inspiration to help us run this very leg, while staying focused on achieving the next phase of critical progress. And what is that next phase, my brothers and sisters? We are duty-bound to continue this journey across the community, whether as a collective of the whole or in twos and threes where we are gathered, in a way that will, one, remove the obstacles to passport-free movement between our nations. Two, make it easier for Caribbean people to go and work where there are opportunities in the community in a way that is hassle-free, in the same way that we have done it for the movement of capital. In keeping with our own Errol Barrow's vision, the reality of our people must not only be a lived reality, but also a legal reality. The Caribbean community, indeed, must lead the world in shaping an environment within which migrants among us can live and work with dignity. For after all, our modern settlement in the Caribbean has been nothing but that of a community of migrants. Three, to truly advance the process of a single domestic space for transport and communications in our region by working to provide more affordable and reliable air and sea links between our countries, and also to establish a single domestic rate for telephone, telecommunications, and phone calls within Caricom. Four, to work with the private sector and the labor movement to provide further opportunities beyond transport and communications mentioned above, to food security, to opportunities in the blue economy or renewable energy and ICT for our people, opportunities for investment and for employment. Five, enable us as we face the climate crisis to pool the funds of the region in order to be able to finance our own development trajectory for sustainable development so that we may adapt to the new realities of this climate crisis. This will require us coming up with innovative instruments that will better allow us to access the capital that we are not now accessing at a global level. Let us remember that those who help themselves will always be helped by others, but we must help ourselves first by pooling our own resources. My message in essence, therefore, my brothers and sisters, is that 2020 can and must provide the platform for a positive spirit of hope and optimism, and a fierce determination to come together as Caribbean people to purposefully carry forward the transformation of our region into this space that truly values, nurtures, and provides concrete opportunities for every Caribbean man, woman, and child to run our leg of this relay. But our pathway towards that better life for our people will not open up the opportunities we seek if we only focus on ourselves and our region. While we look ahead, we must do so fully cognizant of the advances that we are making in claiming our Atlantic destiny as a region as we reach out to our brothers and sisters on the African continent. We have already started discussions at the highest levels on the African continent with people with whom many of us share a common ancestry and history, and who, like us, recognize the imperative of mutual cooperation as we go into 2020. Caricom has accepted the offer of shared office space from the government of Kenya in Nairobi, and we need to open that office urgently and advance our interests in the city that is indeed the home of the UN Environmental Programme and UN Habitat, both of which deal with issues that are vital to our own development in the Caribbean community. Therefore, within the next 6 months, we will also work towards jointly hosting the first ever African Caribbean Summit, African Union Caricom Summit. We need to resolve as a region that we will not leave that gathering without laying the foundation for tangible progress in areas of direct air and sea access across the Atlantic, greater trade in goods and services, and more cultural exchanges between our regions. In closing, my friends, I commend to people across our region the initiative that we have embraced here in Barbados. We've designated 2020 as the year in which we will work together to perfect our finer vision for all Barbadians, regardless of where in the world they live. We can only become better as Caribbean people if we hold to the maxim, dare to dream, and always be determined to deliver. But as we seek to use this 2020 to perfect this finer vision for our island in Barbados, as we gather parish by parish, I want now to ask each of us as Caribbean people to do the same for where we want to go and who we want to be as Caribbean people. For 2020 must be where we can perfect that fine vision. All that is left for me to do is to wish you each and every one a blessed 2020 and to a greater and more powerful Caribbean community. God bless us all. Thank you.
Raise your voices high and sing of your Caribbean pride. Sing it loud and strong. Feel our hearts beat as one. Celebrate in song as we rise to heights where we belong. Sound the victory drum for Caricom. Hele, hele, bravo. Open your sting, Caricom. Leve, leve, wow. Hele, hele. Tabu, yeah, tabu, wow. Knock your drum, Caricom. Leve, leve, wow.
Okie dokie. Prime Minister Mia Mottley in Barbados speaking to the people of Caricom. Jackie O was watching this, and Jackie O says, I must say, her speech was well written, and she speaks with confidence to capture and convince her listeners. Okie dokie, Jackie. Margaret says, interesting that she should talk about migrants living with dignity. Does that apply to Barbados? As I recall, to date, all the migrant cases that have come to the CCJ have originated in Barbados. Mags, we know what you're talking about, girl. Grenada was involved in one of those cases, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, sirree. Okay. We've now been joined by Sonia Mathlin Scott and Hazel Wilson. Victor Let me see if I can pronounce this one. Salopwi, S-A-L-O-P-W-I. He says Caricom benefited from the flights in and out of Dominica big time for the elections. So they have big reasons to go back on their word. And it's dangerous. You know, Victor. Thank you very much. Okay, we have also been joined by a number of other people here. Sir John Grant, saying good morning. No, actually, he's not saying good morning. He's incognito. Melvon Coutain is incognito there as well this morning. Nicole Lindsay and Randall Robinson. Nice of you guys to join us this morning. Ian Blakey is there. Hello there, Ian. Dolores Hazard and Madonna Hafford, all with us this morning. Rose Marie, is that really a name, Rose? Rose Marie is there this morning. Patricia Wilson, George Peters, Danley Alexis, Ann Thomas, T.F. Richards, Lindana Charles, Simeon McVeigh, Patricia O'Neill, Alexander, Anthony Howard, Nestor Ruig. Is that how you pronounce it, Ness? I've known Nestor all these years and I still can't pronounce that. Let's see here. Eric Stone Mitchell. Nice of you guys to join us this morning. Okay. Now, that's the heavy, hold on a sec. Ernesto says it was an idea, Morris Bishop have. Anthony Howard says, very impressive speech and I'm waiting to see her walk the walk. Aren't we all? Anthony, aren't we all? Yes, folks. That's it, I think, for the politics. Not really. We still have another piece from McWee Chat. And you know what? Rather than going to a break right now, I'm gonna go directly to this so that when we're finished with this piece, we're done with politics on this Sunday morning, okay? Grenada's performance in the World Bank's Doing Business ranking continues to be rather disappointing. Needless to say, the usual suspects did have something to say about this. Here's another excerpt from Thursday night's edition of McWee Chat.
We wanted to touch on the Doing Business report, which is now out there. It is making the rounds and forming discussions across the region.
What report?
The Doing Business report.
World Bank report.
2020, the World Bank.
World Bank or is Aaron and
World Bank or who?
I saw some group called R&M put out a report. But they quoted, they cited that. Okay, so it's World Bank. All right.
Right.
Yeah, because this is Davos week.
Mm-hmm. Right. But before we go there, I think we should mention on this program that one of the first ministers in Grenada who served with the first Prime Minister, Sir Eric Matageri, he passed away today. That is Mr. Herbert Prudhomme. He was one of the, I would say, founding parliamentarians in Grenada, served with Eric Matageri, and he has passed on.
Yeah, sadly, just 8 days after his wife.
Yeah, so our condolences.
May their souls find everlasting peace.
Yeah, our condolences to the Prudhomme family and to everyone who will mourn the passing of these two people. I'm happy I managed to have a chat with Mr. Prudhomme some years ago when I was gathering information on Eric Gary for a little documentary I did about him. It was quite interesting, you know, so little is properly documented about Sir Eric and that era in Grenada. It's a work to be done. Definitely.
He was a decent guy. He was one of the decent ones that existed around that time.
Yeah.
Definitely a decent guy.
Yeah. So I am sure that that funeral should be some excitement in Grenada. And, another piece of history.
Yeah, you know, but I don't even know if people would remember him though, because, you know, unless you're of that generation, but certainly, yeah.
Yeah, and that's the sad truth. We don't write these things down.
Don't remember who he was. And most of his generation have gone on.
Yeah, we have lost so much of our history already because it's not written down. It's a work to be done. It's absolutely a work to be done. Right, so let's continue with doing business. Jerry Richardson.
No, the doing business report, I don't have the, in fact, because of the difficulty where I have my computer set up, I can't go back to it at the moment. But just to put in place what the doing business report is the World Bank has decided to go to various countries, the countries that are members of the bank, and each year look at certain aspects of the country's commerce as it relates to the impact government has on a lot of the issues in terms of business. And so they gave each country a score based on whether the government facilitates business. So that's why it's called doing business. So they look at the government side of what the government does to facilitate the business, and they appraise it. And so they look at things as, for example, how easy it is to get electricity, how easy it is to register a property, how easy it is to register a business, how long does it take, what hoops do you have to jump through? If you have a contract, how easy it is to put that contract in play. These are some of the basic business things that they look at. And so countries are appraised based on that. And they're given a rank. It so happened that when it comes to the Caribbean this year, the World Bank has made a categorical statement that says the Caribbean is not reforming soon enough.
Yes, that's actually a summary in the report.
In the report.
Sub-Saharan Africa, Latin America, and the Caribbean are cited as continuing to lag in terms of reforms because only 2 countries from that region made it into the top 50.
And the reason is the same reason that we find ourselves in economic difficulty. So, for example, we have the Article 4 that is done by the IMF. The IMF usually says to the country, listen to me, we think this action, that action, and this other action of yours is going to take you into problems. Might not be now, might be in the next 5 years. You need to fix it. Often, the countries ignore the advice of the IMF. Now, I don't like IMF, but that is fine. We're dealing with what we have to deal with. I had the opportunity in St. Kitts when I think it was the World Bank was holding one of their meetings, and I went to that. And they asked the Inter-American Development Bank president to speak to the journalists, but we are off record. We couldn't record it or anything because they wanted him to be candid and us to be candid. And he made the point that several times projects have been sent in by countries which the IDB look at and say, this does not make sense, right? And they have told the leaders of the country, no, you shouldn't go here. And the leaders basically say to them, listen, you're lending me money or not? But when you lend me the money, what I do with it is my business. And this is why in the Caribbean, the question of reform is because countries take the position of sovereignty. I'm sovereign. I can do whatever. Now, the International Development Bank say, well, fine, once you could pay back the money. But they made the point that in some instances when they've given that advice and people have bad spent the money, they have not been able to pay it back either. Now, you know what happens if you come to them again with a project? It's going to be difficult, but the average citizen does not know that. And so these are some of the things that the World Bank has put in place to be able to measure whether or not we are serious. Now, one of the other issues that they check is, for example, is bankruptcy, because that's one of my key things for St. Vincent. Why bankruptcy? Because in our region, it seems that we like that if a person finds themselves in debt, the debt goes with them to their grave. There is never a chance for reprieve. Donald Trump might not have become president in this region just for that alone, because he would have never been able to declare bankruptcy and start over. And so the international community is saying, we too in the region have to find ways that people who get into business and who find themselves in difficulty, you have to be able to give them a process through which they can recover themselves and start over. Right now in the Caribbean, we actually love to see people suffer. You know, I'm really convinced of that. We love to see people who get themselves into trouble.
You're right
and
about
they're
that.
literally dead. We laugh at them, we jeer them, we stuff. But the international community says if we're going to do business, people who do business may take risks, and sometimes the risk you might consider it fatal from that perspective for the business. But that if that person has entrepreneurial ability and acumen, one shot at business should not destroy them for good.
Hey, Jerry, sorry to interrupt you. It all goes back to this whole thing about having a modern legislative and regulatory environment, right? One that stands up as far as international business is concerned. So, for example, you see the correspondent banks have left the Caribbean, right? Because the risk to them of being fined $1 billion, you know, it's real. And then they're saying, but how much am I making? And how serious are these people's legislative and regulatory environments? And is it enforced, right? So we go back to the whole idea of the legislation and bringing the legislation up to date. Now, you mentioned one thing which answers Janet earlier before. When you spoke about the IFIs, the International Financial Institutes, World Bank, IDB, IMF, those groups. The reason you see China has a hand in everything now is because the Chinese just give you money. And a lot of countries jump on the money, not understanding down the road the Chinese are coming to get their money back. And that's when they start asking for your jewels in your country, right? So we have to understand that we have to get serious. And this is why you see this report. It actually it exposes what's going on, you know.
Because we run out of time, I want to make one more observation. Grenada is down not because Grenada has not done a lot of these things, but I want to put on the record that Grenada is down because Grenada has found itself, the government of Grenada has found itself in contention with two investors in the country. And if you guys were listening to me all along, I kept saying this is going to hurt them. One, Rex, where Grenada tried to go, the government of Grenada tried to go and undo an arrangement and take back a property. Investors do not like that. The people who look at investors say, so if the government is going to do that, why am I going to invest my money in this? Suppose something happened and the government simply go to Parliament and make some legislation and there goes my investment. Government is currently in a situation with Renlec. And I made the same comment at the time. The government should not find itself in that tangle with private sector investment. Because it is a doing business issue. And sometimes I wonder if our prime ministers don't know this.
But you see, Jerry, this went back to when the Grenlec folks came in and signed one of these colonial agreements when they had, you know, they can call for whatever they want and they get all of the exclusive rights to produce power. So just imagine you sitting in your home and you build a windmill and they're telling you, no, you cannot use your windmill because we're the only ones who could provide power.
But they listen, in any country, they can't do that unilaterally.
But that's what I'm saying. But the agreements our governments went out and signed.
That's the problem.
And that's what we call it, the colonial agreements. Because, we still acting like if we...
Don't blame Grenlec.
I am not blaming Grenlec. I am not blaming Grenlec. I did not say Grenlec. I said our governments.
But the point is, when the governments make them find themselves making that error, they can't come back and go to Parliament and simply undo it.
Exactly.
You can't do that.
You have to honor because then you end up being on the list.
Mm-hmm.
Then you end up sliding down the list.
Exactly. And that's the problem. But I just wanted to make that point because I think that I hear governments prime ministers talk about business in such a fashion. You wonder, we take the sovereignty thing too far. The global community is saying, let's globally work the system so that people who want to move their monies around the world, we have a global system, it's free to do so without fear that the government is going to stop them on in returning on the investment. Simple as that.
Yep.
But I think we are about to run out of time.
Yoo-hoo. Yeah. That's it for politics this morning. That's it. Let me try and pronounce this one properly. I'm not sure if it's Sage or Sage. Lego, L-E-G-O, says, great program because it properly considers history and gives insights poor and ignorant can use to sustainably rise up out of poverty. Thank you for that recognition, sir. And a little while ago, Bev was talking about Herbert Pradam. What a gentleman. I knew him personally, but not very well. Like, we didn't go sit and drink beer and stuff like that, but he was a nice gentleman. I really had an awful lot of respect for him. Kipling Francis here acknowledges his passing. He says, yes, my dear uncle was a decent man. I will surely miss him. May God bless him. R.I.P., uncle. Rest in peace. Mickaman Alexander is watching us in Tobago this morning and saying good morning to you guys. And I see that we also have some other incognitos, is that what you would call them, there this morning. George McLeish is with us, Judy Benoit, Mickaman Alexander, whom we just acknowledged there. And our good friend, star of Facebook, Agatha Jordan, out there in Caricom. Nice to see you, Aggie. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Folks, there are a couple of cruise ships in town this morning. Fairly biggie and a less biggie, a smaller one. The biggie is the Serenade of the Seas, came in at 8 o'clock this morning and will be with us until about 6 this evening. And her capacity, 2,490. Not bad. And the Silver Shadow came in a little bit earlier. It's listed here in the schedule as coming in at 8 o'clock, but she was in here a lot earlier than that this morning. I think more like 7 o'clock or maybe even before. Will be with us in port tonight until 10 o'clock. Yeah. Some of the restaurants here, local restaurants, may see some traffic this evening. And the Silver Shadow has a capacity of only 382. All right? Now, I'm going to take another quick little break here now, and then, politics aside, okay. We are then going to look back to New Year's Eve, see how we spent a quiet New Year's Eve. Hold on a sec here. Sajay Lego says, is most of St. George's closed on Sundays? Yes, most of St. George's is closed on Sundays, Mr. Lego. But I'm assuming, that the places that are tourist-oriented, they do open their doors. And needless to say, the vendors and taxis and tour operators, they're all out there. He goes on to say here in Dominica, some make a hullabaloo of making Sunday a regular day, not a public holiday. Already. Sage or whatever. I would imagine that you know Atherton Martin, who was there on Meckwee Chat. Anthony Howard says, should the young of today inherit shackles of their forefathers without trying to remove the same? The way the government of Grenada is handling Grenlec may not be the best, but it is obvious that something needed to be done. Anthony, I'm a little bit puzzled. You know, I did hear initially that the outcome of this case at the International Court would have been known by September. I haven't heard. A beep. Jackie O says, for 2020, I want to take a cruise to Grenada and act like a real tourist for a few hours. Yeah, Jackie O. If you come, let me know. I'll meet you at the port. Okay, folks. Break time, and then we shall return with, New Year's Eve, food and fireworks.
Together with you, our customers, we energize our community.
Together with you, we energize our economy.
We are working together to give our nation a better tomorrow.
With you, we energize our future. Together, we energize our nation.
Thank you for partnering with us
as we energize our Spice Island.
GrenLec, energizing our Grenada.
Juve chocolates, cocoa nibs, and cocoa balls from Diamond Estate Grenada are now available at Amazon.com, Amazon.ca, Amazon.co.uk, and GrenadaMarket.com. Try their sensational touch of nutmeg and a touch of ginger chocolates, 75% dark and rich, 100% pure cocoa, and their 60% dark and sweet chocolate bars today. Amazon Prime members enjoy free shipping on these orders in the USA, Canada, and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
Can I have a chicken lunch, please? Large.
Real nice today.
I don't want that.
But you just asked for a chicken lunch.
I don't have problem with the lunch. Afraid the container.
What is the problem with it?
These styrofoam containers, they don't good for the environment. They shorten with life.
What foolishness you telling me? So what you want me to use?
Put my food in this.
Where you get that?
At the food fair, where you could get all biodegradable food boxes and disposable food supplies like cups, plates, anything you could think about. Name it, it's there. And they don't harm the environment. Food fair, taking the lead in cleaning up and protecting the environment. Hey, like you take me advice, you get in your biodegradable food supplies.
Well, girl, I supporting who's supporting the environment. That is why I shop in at food fair.
Food fair, where you can fill your baskets without emptying your pockets. Products distributed by Hubbard's agency, Kirani James Boulevard.
Alrighty, folks, just before we get to New Year's Eve, there's a note here from Agatha Jordan. Agatha says, a very happy New Year to you, George. I pray that you continue to bring us one of the best programs on social media. The truth is all we ask for. May God continue to bless you always. Thank you very much, Jackie. I really do appreciate, not Jackie, but Agatha. I really do appreciate that. And let me say this, it's been a long time since last I did a program in Caricom. I've done several programs in Caricom and one in Petit Martinique. And I'm really hoping to return to both of those sister islands sometime this year. Please, God, make it happen. I really want to get back. I got to see people like Valerie, Odinga, you, Agatha, Kim Mills down at Hillsborough, John and Caricom. I really want to get together with you folks. I really do pray that this is the year it's going to happen. Now, Margaret says, what do you propose in a market the size of Grenada and with a terrible government track record of managing electricity services? Does the term load shedding ring a bell? Ding dong. Margaret, load shedding, don't even mention that, girl. I used to be managing Radio Grenada when I first returned to the Sauna. I think this was about 1987, 88, whatever. And every morning at 7:30, I had to sit down with a list. Load shedding, this part of the island, that part of the island, no electricity. That part of the island, no electricity. Yeah. I remember that very well. Very, very well. And I just dread the thought of those days coming our way again. Lydia James says, good morning, Happy New Year. Since last year, I've heard and seen you. Well, Lydia, welcome back. You're late, but welcome back. Nice to see you. Alrighty, folks. Now, some fun. On Tuesday evening, we had small get-together. I think all told there were, 8, maybe 9 of us, I'm not sure, at my place here, just outside here. Not only to usher in the new year, but also to celebrate somebody's 60th birthday. And you'll find out as you watch this video who I'm talking about. Folks, it was a very quiet gathering. Let me tell you, we had fun. I mean, we didn't have to dolls up and, buy new dress and new shoes and gobs of lipstick and weaves and, casual little get-together. And I want to say thank you to the people at Belmont Estate because they're the ones who catered. And we were extremely pleased with the meal they provided. We gobbled and gobbled and gobbled and still had leftovers. I was eating for 2 days later. So we feasted, yeah, but after that, at about midnight, we went out onto the balcony here and stood there and watched fireworks. Nice thing about being this high up here on Woolwich Road is that we weren't only able to see the fireworks down on the Carnage, which, by the way, was very, very good. I say very good. In fact, it was extremely good. Nothing compared to what you would see at Times Square in New York or in London or in Australia. Yeah, no. When these people set out fireworks, they set out fireworks over a very large area. The fireworks from the Carnage, they all came off from near to the post office. That little landing where when the cruise ships used to anchor offshore and they would send their passengers in by tenders, where they would drop them off at the end of the pier, that's where the fireworks were set off. But in addition to that, we were also able to see the fireworks from Port Louis, from Sandals, and from several places along the beach at Grand Anse. And off in the distance behind the hills, you could actually see the fireworks from Lansapine as well. So yeah, it was a really, really nice experience. Well, I put together a little piece here, which is, it runs about 17 minutes or so. And take a look. You'll see what I mean when I said this thing was quiet. Just watch and enjoy.
All right, guys. So just before you eat and stuff, since Ray and they're not here, when they come, they'll answer. So they're fun in heaven. We're thankful for this opportunity where we can gather together as friends and family to celebrate Joyce's 60th birthday. We're thankful for sparing her life to this date, to have her in good health and being able to move around, to have friends and families to share this moment with her. We pray that you would be with us as we celebrate. Help us to enjoy everything that's been prepared for us and to keep you as the center. And we ask that you will continue to bless her and bless everyone here as the years go by with many more healthy and happy years of life. In Jesus' name. Amen. Amen.
Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should old acquaintance be forgot and days of old lang syne? For old lang syne, dear, for old lang syne, we'll take a cup o' kindness yet for days of old lang syne. We'd walk around about the braes and put the gowans fine, but we've wandered many we've fet since days of old lang syne, and we twa pedalled in the barn frae morning sun till dine, but seas between us braid he rode since days of old lang syne. For old lang syne, my dear, for old lang syne, we'll take a cup o' kindness yet for days of old lang syne. surely I'll be mine, and we'll take a cup of kindness yet for old lang syne. And there's a hand my trusty fear, and gaze a hand o' thine, and we'll take a recht get well walked for old lang syne, for old lang syne, dear, for old lang syne, we'll take a cup o' kindness yet for old lang syne, for old lang syne, my dear, for old lang syne, we'll take a cup o' kindness yet for old lang syne. Should all acquaintance be for her I never brought to mind. Should all acquaintance be forgot on this of old lang syne? Happy New Year! Should all acquaintance be forgot I never brought to mind? Should all acquaintance be forgot and days of old lang syne? In days of old lang syne, my love, in days of old lang syne, should all acquaintance be forgot and days of old lang syne? Should all acquaintance be forgot I never brought to mind? Should all acquaintance be forgot and days of old lang syne? In days of old lang syne, my love, in days of old lang syne, should all acquaintance be forgot and days of old lang syne? Hey, get up, hey, ha, dang, dang, ding, dang, ding, whoa, ding, dang, dang, ding, ding, dang, ding, dang, dang, ding, dang, ding, dang, dang. In days of old lang syne, my love, in days of old lang syne, should all acquaintance be forgot in days of old lang syne? Should all acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should all acquaintance be forgot and days of old lang syne? In days of old lang syne, my love, in days of old lang syne, should all acquaintance be forgot in days of old lang syne? Should all acquaintance be forgot and days of old lang syne? Sing the song. Should all acquaintance be forgot and days of old lang syne? Whoa, should all get up, be forgot in days of old lang syne? Should all acquaintance be forgot and days of old lang syne? Should all acquaintance be forgot and days of old lang syne? Get up, hey,
Look at Sandals.
And you know what? Nobody got drunk. Nobody. Folks, it was just such a lovely evening. I see here Anthony Howard says, George, I think I'll be coming by you to open 2021, even if I have to climb over your wall to get in. Won't have to climb over a wall, Anthony. Yes, Margaret says here, yes, Anthony, you should. He has a great view. Yes, we do have a great view up here, and that's one of the things I'm very thankful for. Unfortunately, as often is the case, I do not take full advantage of it. You know, people come here and gasp, and I could count a number of times a year on both hands that I go sit out there and enjoy it. Sunsets. Devon Phillips says, blessed morning, George. Bless New Year to you. May the Most High allow you to see many more to come with strength and health and prosperity, but most importantly, spiritual growth in the Most High. You know, Devon, my biggest dream for 2020 is to grow even closer to God. That's my dream. After that, good health. You know, everybody says prosperity, prosperity, prosperity. Yeah, it's good, but a couple of things I would like to have in life, but they're not the priority. I see so many people going to their graves just because they bemoan the fact that they haven't got all the things they want to have in life. They have the things they need. They just don't recognize them. Nutrist Williams says, I'm thinking of a pairing tooth. Margaret, are you going to arrange the catering for these people? Belmont Estate, good job. Anthony Howard says, Margaret, I'm old enough to remember the problem we had, not being able to get dependable power. But that was then. I believe we have come a long way and should embrace the future. They're talking about Grenada here. Alternative energy is the future, and it should be in the hands of the people, the government of the people. Okay. Folks, I mentioned to you that if we had time at the end of the program, I would certainly love to hear from you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 calls. It would be nice to hear from you guys. And I'm hoping that somebody will pick up the phone and call. You may reach me at, not yet, hold on, 473. That's if you're calling from outside of Grenada. 473-415-0631. That's also my WhatsApp number, by the way, okay? So, yes, before I take those calls, though, I would like to start the first program of 2020 by putting a smile on your face. I couldn't think of a better way to wrap up the first edition of Sundays with George Grant in 2020 than with a few laughs. This crazy Quebec-based troupe goes under the name Oddly Satisfying Therapy. Let me repeat that. Oddly Satisfying Therapy. They use the city as their stage and its inhabitants or victims as characters. People are caught in a twisted yet funny web of comedic deception. Call this an updated version of Candid Camera, if you wish. How many of you remember Candid Camera? You old enough? I never missed Candid Camera back in the days when I lived in Toronto. This, however, is just a tad more risque and a little bit kookier with the practical jokes that are being played. These little snippets that you're about to see, they only last a few minutes each. The piece is about, I think, 15 minutes. And some look more painful than others. You're not going to hear anybody speaking. It's all visual. It's all visual. But do yourself a favor. Do yourself a favor. Keep your eyes on the facial expressions of the victims. You may wind up having to change your diapers by the time you're finished watching this. You know, by Grenadian standards, our humor is a little bit different here than North America. But I still think you find an awful lot to laugh at. Okay, just before I fire that up, hang on a sec here, hang on a sec. Nutris Williams says, prosperity is good, but it should not define us. Absolutely, Nutris. Gotta meet you. Sharon says, I'm inviting myself for 2021, okay? Sharon, if I put on a party, by the way, I didn't put on that party, but if I put on a party, I will be inviting you. And Wendy. Let's see here. Margaret says, for sure, Sharon. Okay, folks, so let's get to this little piece here now. It's called Just for Laughs. Stop and think about what you're watching. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. I thought that was funny. Come on. It was funny, eh? No obscene language, no cuss words, no smears, nothing. Just good old clean fun. Well, some of you have been commenting on this here on social media. Hello, Mashida Phillip. Good to see you. I haven't seen you in a little while, but I've been following your stuff on Facebook. Good luck this coming year. She says, thank you for the humor this morning. And Utrus Williams was laughing her head off this morning. Ryan also thinks it's funny, although he's apologizing he says he's on vacation and had a long awakening from bed, so he's chiming in kind of late this morning. Sonia Mathern Scott says she's interested. Kathleen Thomas says, I remember Just for Laughs. I had loved looking at it. Some of them were so funny. Yeah, I could imagine. I understand why you're saying some of them, because others, but still, funny piece. Jackie O says, oh gosh, she's dying with laughter. Yeah. M. Claudius McLeod says, this is one of, maybe, the funniest shows on TV today, largely from Montreal, but also other Canadian cities. If it's on, nothing would get done. Pretty much like All in the Family years ago, eh? And what was it, Sanford and Son, the Bill Cosby show, yeah? Jackie O says, yes, thief. Good kick for the thief. New Trust Williams says, yep, that was good. Martin Carmichael Simon says, I enjoyed that, Gigi. Agatha Jordan says, love it, George. I had a good old-fashioned laugh. Thank you. It was a great show, if it's still on. Is it still on? That's a question being asked by Anthony Howard. I don't know, Anthony. I really don't know. Jackie says, I need a little bit of this every day. Well, you know, Jackie, I'm not always able to provide it on a daily basis, but I'll try to do more of it in the coming year. Who's that? Terry Forrester's also laughing his head off. I see he's just sent a little note there on WhatsApp. Good to see you, Mr. Forrester. I wonder if you're going to be the first call this morning. Folks, I am about to open up the lines, 415-0631. Give me a ding and, you know, whatever you want to talk about, but just remember it's now 13 minutes to midday. We're pulling out of here at midday. And, you know, maybe your wishes for Grenada for 2020, how you spent your holiday season, whatever, okay? Let's see here. Ernesto says, it reminds me of the English show, Mr. Bean. Yeah, absolutely, Ernesto. So, folks, yeah, let me take a little break here while you get your fingers to do the walking. And we'll say hi to a few of you.
Together with you, our customers, we energize our community.
Together with you, we energize our economy.
We are working together to give our nation a better tomorrow.
With you, we energize our future. Together, we energize our nation.
Thank you for partnering with us
as we energize our Spice Island.
Grenlec, energizing our Grenada.
Juve chocolates, cocoa nibs, and cocoa balls from Diamond Estate Grenada are now available at Amazon.com, Amazon.ca, Amazon.co.uk, and GrenadaMarket.com. Try the sensational touch of nutmeg and a touch of ginger chocolates, 75% dark and rich, 100% pure cocoa, and their 60% dark and sweet chocolate bars today. Amazon Prime members enjoy free shipping on these orders in the USA, Canada, and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
Well, I'll tell you what, M. Claudius McLeod says, yes, the show is on the W Network on weekends. That's one of the cable channels, I would imagine. Anthony Howard says, Benny Hill was also an interesting series, absolutely. And let me ask you this, Anthony, are you old enough to remember Carol Burnett? Huh? Yeah, man. Enjoyed her. And what about the Beverley Hillbillies? Oh, man. Back in those days, humor was so different and so satisfying. I mean, you watch the show, and for days after that, you're talking about, what was on. Great stuff. All right. I'm still waiting on your calls, by the way.
Can I have a chicken lunch, please? Large.
Real nice today.
Mm-mm. I don't want that.
But you just asked for a chicken lunch.
I don't have problem with the lunch. Afraid the container.
What is the problem with it?
These styrofoam containers, they don't good for the environment. They shorten with life.
What foolishness you telling me? So what you want me to use?
Put my food in this.
Where you get that?
At the food fair, where you could get all biodegradable food boxes and disposable food supplies like cups, plates, anything you could think about. Name it, it's there. And they don't harm the environment. Food fair, taking the lead in cleaning up and protecting the environment. Hey, like you take me advice, you get in your biodegradable food supplies.
Well, girl, I supporting the environment. That is why I shop in that food fair.
Food fair, where you can fill your baskets without emptying your pockets. Products distributed by Hubbard's agency, Kirani James Boulevard.
Well, I'll tell you what. Ryan here says that he likes Carol Burnett, or liked, I would imagine. Anthony Howard says he remembered Carol Burnett and the Beverley Hillbillies, but he was not a big fan. Okay. Roger Mitchell says the Jeffersons was one of the classics, absolutely. And Fred Sanford, yeah. Jackie O says, way before my times. I'm here looking like, what are they talking about? Jackie O, you sure? You're not pulling my leg? Well, I'll tell you what, it seems like, I don't know, perhaps social media has brought about some change, because I'm sitting here wondering, I've been asking these people to call and nobody's called, but we're seeing a lot of fingers in action on their keyboards. This is so different from back in the days of Chime when, sometimes you had to put the phones on hold, huh? Well, anyway, you had the chance to, you did. I haven't heard from you, and I'm sorry about that, but that's fine. Now, just before our parting word this morning, programs on the first Sunday of the year, I thank you all for joining me. And I want you to know, I'll appreciate you even more in 2020 than I did in 2019. That's going to be a whole lot. Thank you for your support. You know, just by being there provides so much encouragement. And sometimes it's hard to believe that people appreciate you, but yes, I do. I really do. My prayer for you, it's like me, you will draw closer to God in the new year. Yeah. I don't believe politics nor religion will get us anywhere. At least not where our dreams and our hearts desire to take us. But I do believe that God is the solution. So let's work at it. Sometimes he seems so slow at answering prayer. Doesn't mean that he hasn't heard. And sometimes he answers, and we don't recognize those answers. Yeah. Let's try to keep our eyes wide open, eyes and hearts open. I pray that you'll have a good year, that in this country we'll become a little bit more loving, a little bit more tolerant, a little bit more forgiving. We're not the only ones with ideas. Everybody else has ideas. Even though we may disagree with other people, doesn't mean that we should hate them or be malicious towards them. We all have ideas. Given to us by God. Parting word from the Holy Scriptures on this, the 5th day of January 2020. Has a nice ring to it. 2020. Yeah. This reading comes to you from the book of Philippians, chapter 4, verses 12 and 13. I know what it is like to be in need. I also know what it's like to have plenty. I have learned the secret of being content in any and every situation, whether well-fed or hungry, whether living in plenty or in want. I can do all this through him who gives me strength. Carry that close to your heart. My dear friends, that's going to do it. Thanks a lot. God bless you. Oh, by the way, hey. Tomorrow morning, we're back here. We'll call it something different. We'll call it Good Day Grenada, okay? Yeah. But every weekday, we got stuff going on here, 9 to 10. As I mentioned to you some time ago, we're thinking about changing the time. That's not been agreed upon. But the program may be moved from 9 to 10 in the morning to sometime in the early evening, okay? Let me have your thoughts on that, by the way. I'd be happy to hear from you. Let me know. So, off we go hunting, yachts in the dark, yachts in the dark, yachts in the dark. Off we go hunting, yachts in the dark, and I doubt whether we'll ever find them. God bless you, folks.